All right. Hey there guys, Dubs Rider here. And I wanted to do a video today about something I get a ton of questions on, and that's aftermarket windshields compared to Honda windshields, and what the main differences are, what the height differences are, what it looks like when you're actually riding the bike, that sort of thing. So I wanted to kind of shoot a video today and just kind of compare 4 different windshields. I have the 2 Honda windshields, the Honda Tall, the Honda stock windshield that it comes with, and then I have a Cee Baileys kind of intermediate, I believe it's an 8 to 10 inch shield, and then I've got the Cee Baileys touring shield there, which I believe is 12, but we'll get exact measurements for each one of these windshields while they're on the bike, and so you can kind of see where each one of them falls in comparison height-wise to the other windshields. So yeah, if you're wondering about windshields at all, stay tuned and we'll be back with you shortly. All right, so first up here, we're gonna do the Cee Baileys touring windshield. It was on the bike anyway, so I figured it's a quick, easy way to kind of compare it. And what I'm gonna do is kind of put these in front of each other so that you can kind of see the heights and stuff. But I'll start with some of the features of the Cee Baileys touring. It's got a little bit shorter angle back here than the Honda Tall windshield does. The Honda Tall windshield kind of comes up a little bit more here, which I think maybe pushes the wind up a little bit, but this kind of keeps the line of the bike and kind of comes back at an angle a little bit. You also have this vented area here, which definitely helps out with wind buffeting. So you simply pull a little lever there, it lets the air come in through the windshield. It's a similar thought to the Honda touring windshield that's offered, with giving a kind of a gap there, and you can kind of play with this at different levels. Sometimes I like to keep it, you know, right towards the top, just vented a little bit, because what I find is the back pressure coming off of here kind of continues to push that wind up, and I don't really, on a colder day, I really don't notice a difference in the airflow to myself unless that vents all the way down, but it does help with the buffeting a little bit. Next, I kind of want to go through the height here. So I'm just going to measure from here, or from the bottom of the fairing here to the top of the windshield, and you're looking at about 14 inches. So 14 inches is the windshield on the Cee Baileys touring shield here, and that's the model that I've got on the bike here currently. So a little bit taller shield. I think when we compare it to the Honda, I think the Honda is right around the same size, if not a little more. But overall, I really like this windshield. I've got 4 different windshields for the Honda CTX1300, and I tend to ride with this one the most because I find that it gives me a little bit more control. I really do like having that vent there. It's very Goldwing-like, but it allows you to kind of control the wind a little bit more, and allows you to, you know, get a little bit better wind buffeting on some of those days where it's very windy out or you're riding in heavy traffic. So next, I want to kind of show you what it looks like on the bike, so I'll bring you back when I get sitting on the bike there. All right, so what I want to do now is bring you guys in and let you see what the rider kind of sees from the bike here, so that you can kind of gauge your own on the windshield heights, and whether it falls where you want to see it, or where you want to have for a windshield or not. So first thing, the 14 inch, we just did the measurement on that. As you can see, sitting on the bike, and I like to kind of give the helmet guideline, because I find that it adds a couple 2-3 inches up here, and it kind of lets me tell you where the air falls on here. But I can easily see over the windshield when I'm looking 20 or 30 feet out in front of me, kind of riding on the road or riding on the highway. I'm not looking through the windshield. What I do find though is the air coming off of this does kind of hit somewhere in here on the helmet, and so you have to kind of use this to control that back pressure coming up in order to kind of reduce the buffeting coming off, because I do get a little bit of buffeting on the top of the helmet. I do find on colder mornings, I do have to ride with this kind of cracked or up because it fogs up. There's not a whole lot of air coming in. However, I don't like riding on the highway with it like this because I find that the air falls somewhere in here and it really shakes your head quite a bit. Like I said though, this vent allows you to kind of control the back pressure on the air. If you open it all the way up, that brings the air kind of center into your chest, gets you a lot more airflow. So on a cooler morning, you drop that down and you don't really, you get the air kind of in the chest, and I only do that kind of on warmer days, and really I still don't do that on highway rides. I find that without that back pressure, this Honda Shield does kind of, then you create two pockets. So you've got two pockets of air coming in, and normally I just kind of reserve that for riding around town or lower miles per hour. I just find that that's when you need it the most. Obviously, if you're out on the highway, you got a lot of wind around you anyway, and so it's not quite as hot. But I normally on the highway, I kind of bring this up 3/4. That way I get that back pressure coming straight up, and it kind of pushes that air higher off of myself and kind of creates this pocket. But like I said, I still do get the buffeting kind of towards the top of the helmet. Overall, I've had this windshield on here for a little over a year. It's the one that I've actually used the longest. I have 4 windshields for this bike, and I've kind of gone back and forth through the different windshields, and this is the one that I kind of keep on there more consistently, just because I feel that it gives me, as the rider, the most control. Not to say that it doesn't have its shortcomings. I think overall, and we'll talk about this in some of the later windshields, it does have some shortcomings when it does come to buffeting and things like that. But overall, for a balanced windshield, I don't really think that you're going to find one that's, that much better, I guess. Just to kind of give you some height measurements, I'm 5'9", 5'8" 3/4, so 5'9" on a good day. 31.5, 32-inch inseam, and this is kind of where it falls on the bike, so that you can kind of judge for yourself whether or not this is something you wanna pick up for your bike. So this kind of wraps up the Cee Baileys Touring Shield, the 14-inch version. I think it only comes in the one version. You'll have to definitely check the Cee Bailey website and see if they've got any other versions, but I think the Touring only comes in the 14-inch version right now. And yeah, that wraps up the review on that. Next, we'll talk about the Honda Touring windshield. All right, so next up here, we have the Honda Tall Touring windshield. I'll put some part numbers for you guys, maybe right before the windshield here, or right at the bottom of the screen here. Don't have everything quite buttoned up. That's what you'll see the mirror there kind of is a little off, but I wanted to show you guys exactly what it looks like on the bike. So as you can see here, the Honda Touring windshield doesn't have the vent. It's got these 2 slots here basically. What these slots are designed to do is take the air in and then back up and create kind of a pocket for the rider. And that's one of the major differences between this one and the other one. That vent's kind of in the center and allows you to kind of control the airflow. This is all going to come straight in here, and it's going to come back up here, creating this vacuum effect. They bring the air back over the rider. So next we'll kind of do a measurement here, just like we did on the other one, from the bottom of the windshield here, or the bottom of the top of the fairing here. You'll see almost exactly 14 inches. So they're exactly the same height, the Cee Baileys and the Honda Tall Touring windshield. But what you'll notice is the angle is a little different on this windshield compared to the Cee Baileys. The Cee Baileys comes back a little more. This comes up a little more. Straight edge here, so it's not lipping the air at all. It's just coming straight off of the windshield here. So overall, this was the first windshield that I got for the bike right after I bought it. And I've got almost 1,000 miles with this windshield on. and I really do like it. I've shot a review video with it before when I was riding, and I really do like the way the air comes off of that windshield. One of the main reasons why I do use the Cee Baileys a little more though is because it does allow for that rider control of the air, as opposed to just having the windshield kind of make that decision for you. So next up, what we're going to do here is I'll get on the bike and you can kind of see how it falls for the rider, and make a determination as to whether or not this is the right windshield for you. All right, so this is the view from the bike here. As you can see, I'm looking straight out over the windshield just like I am with the Cee Baileys. Like I said though, this comes kind of up a little bit more, so you're looking through the windshield a little more when you're looking down at the road in front of you. But 20 or 30 feet out in front of you there, you're going to be looking out over the windshield. With the 14-inch height here, you can kind of see it's bringing the air up. This does an extremely good job though with those two vents of making this pocket come straight up. And that's one of the things that I really do like about the Honda Touring Shield, is that it does make such a good pocket, and I find that I do have less buffeting at highway speeds with this windshield. Is it extremely noticeable? No. Overall, you know, maybe a little bit, maybe 5 or 10% less buffeting. But what you'll notice though between the other windshield is that you don't have control of that air quite as good as you do on the Cee Baileys Touring. And I'm not sponsored by Cee Baileys or anything. I've just kind of given you guys an honest review or feedback as to how each of these windshields works. I really do like the Honda Tall Touring windshield. Like I said, it creates a good pocket for the rider, a little bit less buffeting overall, and I really don't think you'll go wrong with this if you choose this option for your Honda CTX1300. All right, so next up here, we've got the Cee Baileys Shorty Windscreen, and I got this one in smoke because you pretty much are always going to be looking out over this windshield, but by far I think this has the best look of any of the windshields on the bike. It keeps it low and slung. It's definitely by far the best look out of any of the windshields that I've put on the Honda CTX1300, but by far less wind protection. So what we'll do here is measure the height so you can kind of get a gauge of that. And again, we'll do it from the bottom of the fairing here, or the top of the fairing here. And it's just under 8 inches of windshield there. So as you can see, almost 6 inches less windshield. On a hot summer day, this is a great windshield to use, especially for riding around town. I don't really recommend this windshield for prolonged highway stints or any type of long trips that you'll do. You just find that you get a lot of wind on this one. So next up, we'll go into sitting on the bike here and kind of show you the height from the riding position. All right, so here's the rider view of the Shorty windscreen here. Bring it in so you guys take a look at here. As you can see, you're pretty much all but the couple feet in front of the motorcycle there. You're looking out over the windscreen. So that's why it's a darker color, because really you're not going to be looking just in front of your motorcycle too much anyway. And on a bright day or a warm day, you're going to be able to see through that a little bit more anyway. But as far as wind goes and wind management on this screen, very minimal. The wind coming off of here, I do find that at a higher speed it hits the rider somewhere in here. It brings this swath of wind kind of right in here, and that's why I don't really recommend it for longer highway riding, especially you know, on windier days, because where the wind comes back, you get a lot of buffeting. And if you're riding with traffic or semis or anything like that, you're going to get a lot of head shake coming off of this windscreen. But really, What it's designed for is to get you a whole lot of wind and to make the bike look extremely sharp. And I really do like the Shorty Windscreen on as far as the look on the motorcycle. I think it looks the best out of any of the screens that I have. And so for just going around town or short rides, or maybe even on a really hot day ride where you're going to be doing back roads and twisties and that sort of thing, you're definitely gonna like this windscreen. So just know what you're buying and kind of what your riding style is and what you're kind of going for. Like I said, if you're a long distance rider, this may not be the windscreen for you. It's going to create a whole lot of uncomfortable buffeting on those long distance rides. So, but if you're a short day rider, back roads, that sort of thing, you live in a really hotter climate, this might be a great windscreen to pick up for your motorcycle. All right, last but not least here, we've got the windscreen that it rolled off the showroom floor with. And as you can see, there's not a whole lot to it. It's a pretty short windscreen. If we just do a measurement on this one quick, it is from the top of the fairing there about 3 1/4 inches. And really this windscreen I don't have a ton of experience with, because within the first week of owning it, I got rid of it, to be honest. Swapped it out for a different windscreen. That's where I went to the tall touring one, and then I worked with Cee Baileys and on an install video, and they got me the other 2 windscreens, and I haven't looked back, honestly. I think it was kind of a design flaw on Honda's part here. I think that the bike should have probably come off of the showroom floor with the tall windscreen. The bike's kind of designed to be a touring machine, a little bit longer rides, and this windshield doesn't do it justice when it comes to that. So yeah, we've got the measurement there, a little under 3 1/4 inches, and my recommendation would be to find something else to put on there as your budget allows. So next I'll give you the rider view here on the windscreen and kind of see how it comes off the showroom floor. All right, so this is the rider view of the windscreen that it comes off the show or the factory floor or showroom floor with. As you can see, there's not really a windscreen to speak of, at least from the rider perspective. The air coming off of this comes straight back somewhere. Sorry, hit the mic there, but somewhere straight in here. And so you get a lot of clean air, and again, this is how the windshield looks with the rider, and I'm sure someone at Honda thought that might be a good idea to get a whole lot of wind, or maybe they were just trying to keep that low slung look, because it really does. It doesn't look bad, but it really is not a useful part on the bike to speak of to me. It just didn't provide any type of wind protection that I noticed while riding it. So I think it was more of a, they had to put a windscreen on it, so they did kind of thing. But this is, if you pick up one of these bikes, is how you'll get it. And hopefully some of the other videos that I shot will help give you some reference and some points for what your next windscreen is. Like I said, I didn't have this one very long. I made the decision pretty early on in buying the bike that I wanted to get a different windscreen for it. So yeah, just to kind of give you a reference point, you can kind of back this video up and kind of compare lengths and heights. I think what I'm going to do is I am going to put this all into one video. I'd kind of toyed with the idea of making them separate videos, but I think anybody that's looking at getting a different windscreen wants to kind of see a video that compares them all within that same video. So I'll make this one longer video, and you guys can kind of make the decision as to what windscreen is going to work best for you. This kind of wraps up all of the windscreens that, at least that I have. There are more out there, I think, at this point, even though there are very few manufacturers making windscreens for this bike, just because of the run and that Honda had on these, and I don't think they're active anymore. But you can kind of do some search around online. Maybe the inch measurements that I gave you from some of the other windscreens can give you a better reference. There's one last thing that I do know of that might be out of there. It just kind of popped in my head, so sorry guys. But the laminar lip, I think, does have an attachment for one of the windscreens. Don't quote me on it, but that might be another option for you. I didn't preference the laminar lip on my old motorcycle just because of the way the air came off of it from a touring standpoint. I didn't really prefer it. But that's my own personal preference. There's tons of people out there that love them and speak volumes of them, and so you can take that kind of as a grain of salt. I'm not a professional or anything, and I'm not putting 50,000 miles a year on my bike either. So this is just kind of my own personal preference. So I hope this helps, guys. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and as always, you can check me out on my social media links, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.